Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised. Alrighty, boys and girls, ladies, gentlemen, friends, loved ones, neighbors. We're back at it. Yeah, we're back on the Ariens 28 Deluxe. Super high output. Here we go. So, just to give you some rundown. This was made in 2017. Presumably sold in 2018. That's what I was told from the guy I bought it from. We've had a few minor problems with it. Nothing is by any stretch earth-shattering. We did put a, let me get the light here. We did put a new friction wheel in there, and that's after one usage. It looks good. The dry plate looks good, no rust. So that looks all right. We did full lube on it, so you can see that's changed nice and lubed. Sorry about having to use the flashlight. We're trying to get better lighting in the shop, but it's coming. So this is a 6-year-old machine, and this is indicative of what you'll see. Couple of problems was the carburetor was dirty, and the exhaust guard is falling apart. It's cracking all apart, so we're going to weld that up. I'll do a video on that on its own. The big problem that we have right now is this right here. If you can see that, that play is the bearing. The shaft is worn out, and it is floating in the bearing. Here is a new shaft and a new bearing. And as you can see, there is zero play. But watch this. So I'm going to tell you something. That fit, you can see the creep, is likely to induce problems. So what I think I'm going to do with this is I'm going to probably add a dab of blue Loctite and see if, well, first I got to find some. And see if that doesn't help with the situation. Not going to pull any punches here. Ariens makes these machines so they can slap them together. There's no, this is a zero effort thing. And if you're not careful, that's what you end up with. And remember, these are assembly line machines. They're competing against, well, now they're competing against offshore made equipment. They're competing against a few different manufacturers. And they're cutting corners wherever they can. And this setup here is kind of janky. But it is what it is. It's what we got and what we got to work with. So we're going to move on. I spared you the agony of watching me pull the wheels off. I was able to pull the wheels off because they're properly lubricated. And pulling the belly pan off so that we exposed that shaft. The shaft in question is right there. So all that has to be done is we have to pull this bearing out, pull those two little clips. You can see the one right there next to the drive wheel, and there's the other one out there. Those clips limit the travel of the drive wheel. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the transmission somewhere in the middle so that I can get clear access. I want to leave the chain right there. I want to leave the chain, that little sprocket hiding down there. I want to leave it. Let's get her into focus. She doesn't want to focus. Focus, baby. It won't focus back there. But there's that chain. You can see where the light is. And then we'll put two new bearings. I bought two new bearings. And I bought the shaft, or Jake did. So we're going to make this thing as good as it can be. All right, anyway, I'm going to get started. I can't really film this because it's so dark. So what I'm going to do, and this is pretty straightforward. Let me see if I can fix this, set this up somehow. I got magnetic lights, but of course I ordered them on Amazon and I forgot to bring them. Wasn't that stupid? So the shaft here is just going to be straightforward. None of this, we're going to take none of this out. The sprocket down there, this is all going to stay. I'm just going to slide the shaft out. pull the pin, sorry, the little C-clips, slide the shaft out, slide the new one in, and then we'll go from there. And I'll show you guys that as we go. But unfortunately, it's tough to do it one-handed and video it all at once, because it's just one of those things. So let me this is all, I mean, this is what, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 of these that I've been working on. And by no means does that make me an expert, but in the same, I mean, there's these little problems that these machines seem to be plagued with. And it's definitely nothing earth-shattering. I have seen worse. Let's get this thing up in another gear. That should move the wheel, the friction wheel. Oh, look at that. See, now we're in the middle. And now we have a better view of that sprocket that's going to stay in there, the little guy, and the rest of the parts. So stand by and I'll get this out. Okay, sorry about the background noise, the heat's on, and you can definitely see the step in that shaft. I'll pull it out for you, get a better picture. Alright, so I didn't find any blue Loctite. I got a bunch of bottles in a box somewhere and I can't find it. But I did find this old stick of Loctite 668 quick stick retaining compound. So what I did was I put that inside the bearing. I'll show you in a second here. Let's get over there. I put that inside the bearing in the bore. That's the brand new bearing. That's ready to go in. Hopefully that'll make that slippage issue, it's called creep. It'll reduce that amount of creep that's going on in those bearings. Man, I gotta get my tripod set up here. I know some of you guys are a little annoyed, but loud noises, here we go. Right off again. There you go. So those are all tightening. It's the same on both sides. Wash, rinse, repeat, same thing. That's in nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the new shaft, like I said before. I'm going to feed the new shaft through this side here where my finger is. It's going to come through. It's going to go through the friction disc. It's going to pick up that small sprocket. And then lastly, it'll be in the bore on the other side. So I'll get that done. I can't film it. Well, I could try, but it's really getting annoying for you guys. I understand. And you know what? Let's just give it a shot. See if we can do it. just so there's not any naysayers. Right? Right. So I'm doing all this one-handed. So bear with me. I'm going to put some anti-seize on the splines. And I don't want any on the end of that shaft because I want the bore lock to do its job. So I'm going to wipe that off the end of the shaft there. There. So now this is going through here. And we're going to go through. Oh, look at this. This is a nightmare. Why did I tell you guys I could do this? Stand by. All right, I got it that far in. Let's see if I can get it the rest of the way in. I have to be able to see down there. Let's see where we're going. Can you guys see in there? I can barely see in there. That's where we're heading. We're trying to get that shaft in the bearing. Oh, look at that. All the way in. Okay. And you can see that junk came out of the bore, so we're not going to affect that. We'll just wipe that out. Okay, that's done. One side's done. I'm not going to do video the other side. I'll show you when it's complete. And to try to slow down any corrosion issues, I buttered the bearing cup, bearing retainer, bearing mount, whatever you want to call it. I buttered it up with some anti-seize. You know, you guys, we're fighting the big thing here is what we're fighting is corrosion induced by salt. And why I say that is because the everybody's driveway, most areas, you're going to end up with salt in the snow. And when you get salt in the snow, and it gets into your snowblower, that's where you're getting all the corrosion from. Snow in itself doesn't corrode anything more than rain does. In fact, I'd probably argue that it does less corrosion. And I am putting anti-seize on all the fasteners just because, why not? There. Whew. Okay, let me get this tightened up. All right, there she is, installed. I'm hooking on that shaft right now. See if we can get a shot in there. There you go. No play. And it spins like magic. And the bearing race, inner race is running with the shaft. Check the other side. Same thing. It's gliding like glass. So that restores the hex shaft. Sorry, let me get some light in there. That restores the hex shaft back to full functionability. So I'll put the two C-clips back in. I'm going to check over this real quick. I'm going to show you how to grease this differential shaft in here. The one at the end with the C-clip on it. We'll do that too while we're at it. All right, there you go. That's an issue right there. This is the differential shaft. So this axle turns with the opposite wheel. This one spins on its own, but it goes into the differential, which is right this device here. And that gives you that easy steering. But here's the problem. I just pulled this out, this shaft here out. And let me get this so we can see it. And that does not look good. So what are we going to do? We're going to clean it and we're going to lube it. And we're going to put a mixture in there of, you know what? I'm just going to put some really good lube, really good grease in there, and it should work out well. The idea here is the more grease you can pack into it, the less water will get into it, because those droplets there, that's water. That's the issue, and it has started to corrode. So that spline right there, the spline fits in, goes through this axle bearing, and it goes into the cassette. And there is a washer in there, so we'll make sure it goes all back together again after I clean this. The product, I cleaned the shaft, wiped her down. The product I put on there now is EP1 grease, and why I used EP1 was because it's way less, well not way, but it's less, it has less viscosity, less thickness than EP2. And it's pretty cold in here. Like I can see my breath. It was -8 degrees Celsius, so that probably puts it around 14 Fahrenheit in here. And this grease is just, it's not thick at all. So if you're gonna do these shafts, and I highly recommend that you do, and even under your wheels, EP1. Get yourself a tube. I have what here in Canada, the product that I have is general purpose EP1 made by Petro-Canada. And I've had that tube 15, 20 years. And I'm telling you guys, most of my guys that watch the channel are American. You will find Phillips Kanoko. They made a really good cold weather EP1 grease. I recommend you use that. I have used that. We do get it up here in Canada, and it's a quality product. So I highly recommend that. Okay, now when you put this shaft back in here, which is pretty easy to do, it slips right in there. There's one thing you got to be aware of. Let me put the C-clip on now so I don't forget it. This has got to be the easiest C-clip in the planet to do. Straight blade screwdriver into one of the holes, twist it, pops right off. Doesn't even go flying. Nice and easy. Okay. Inside, behind the bearing, I don't know if you can see it right there. I'm going to try to get the light on there. Right here, this is a spacer. Just make sure that it's a spacer ring. It's pretty big, but make sure that axle stub goes through that and it doesn't fall down onto the bolts. If it does, you won't even be able to get that back in, so you'll know for sure you got to move it. So that's all reassembled, lots of grease, and we're ready to carry on. Okay, don't forget we got to lube the hex shaft. So I'm using some of my EP1 here. If I can get in there, and I'm just putting a very, very, very thin coat. I mean very thin coat on here. We don't want this flying around getting on the friction wheel. So I'm going to do both sides, and then we'll, as soon as I get this done, I'm just putting some grease on there now. We'll be able to button her up, because that'll be it inside. And that'll keep the wheel running free. Oh yeah, look at that. That's perfect. It's hard to see inside these, but you guys get my... I'm just lubing it up. Okay, very good. Stand by. Yeah, one full start. Oh, we got a problem. Throttle. Well, that's it, boys and girls. We had a small problem that we had to deal with, and that was the, believe it or not, the throttle plate shifted in the bore, and it caused the throttle to stick. So it took us 2 times pulling this thing apart to figure it out. And I got it figured out. So all I did was loosen off the 2 screws on the butterfly, set the throttle shaft so that the butterfly was all the way closed, recentered the butterfly concentrically within the bore, tighten up the 2 screws, and she's as good as gold. The only thing we got to do yet is fix the heat shield, and that won't be today because we got a storm coming and we got to get her done. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell for more snowblower nightmares.